The tragedy of Bryan Gunn had a truly sad ending. His daughter's life was taken by leukemia, and it was absolutely horrible for him. The pain didn't just stay with Gunn, it spread to his teammates, and even more so to the fans who loved and cherished him. It was a moment that broke hearts everywhere, showing just how deeply connected he was to the people around him. In 1992, Bryan Gunn's world changed forever. His 2-year-old daughter, Francesca, was diagnosed with leukemia, a heartbreaking moment that turned his life upside down. At the time, fans noticed something unusual. Gunn suddenly started running onto the pitch with a completely shaved head. At first, Norwich City supporters were stunned. Some even laughed, thinking it was just a quirky choice or maybe a joke. One fan, author Kevin Baldwin, later admitted how wrong he had been. He remembered shouting, "Baldy!" from the stands, only to find out later that Gunn had shaved his head in support of little Francesca. She was losing her hair due to chemotherapy, and he wanted to show her there was nothing to be embarrassed about. It was a quiet, deeply personal act of love, but when the real reason came out, people across the sporting world and throughout Norfolk rallied around him. Gunn kept playing through this painful time, but it wasn't easy. He later recalled how much it affected him. There was one match in the autumn of 1992. Norwich lost 7-1 to Blackburn, and everything just felt off. The team stayed in a gloomy hotel. It rained non-stop, and all Gunn wanted was to be home with his family. He later said, "With hindsight, you think, why the bloody hell was I playing?" Soon after, Francesca passed away. She was sleeping between Gunn and his wife, Susan. He remembered waking up, realizing what had happened, and holding their daughter in their arms as they cried together. Despite the heartbreak, Gunn didn't walk away from football. Just days after Francesca's death, he stepped onto the pitch again, this time in a match against Queen's Park Rangers at Carrow Road. The moment he ran out, he could feel the entire stadium behind him. He said, "Never thought about packing it in." That season, Gunn was named Norwich City's Player of the Year. The club finished third in the Premiership, their highest ever league position. It was a powerful reminder of his strength, both as a player and as a person. Bryan Gunn didn't stop there. He turned his pain into purpose. After Francesca's passing, he set up Bryan Gunn's Leukemia Appeal, a charity aimed at fighting the disease that took his daughter. The original goal was to raise £10,000, but by 2011, the appeal had brought in over £1 million through the Dove Trust. The charity focused on 3 main goals. First, to help local hospitals better care for children with leukemia, in and out of hospital. Second, to provide special training for nurses and staff so they could offer even better care. Third, to support vital research into the causes and possible cures of the disease. Third goal, in particular, became deeply personal for Gunn. Appeal funded leukemia research at the University of East Anglia in Norwich. Gunn dreamed that maybe, one day, cure for leukemia could be discovered there, a lab carrying Francesca's name. "If that can be done," he said, "it would be the biggest testimony of all." The appeal didn't just stop with research. He also wanted to support other families going through the same nightmare. That's why he created a telephone support line called GAPS Line. It was designed to help parents of children diagnosed with leukemia or other types of cancer, offering advice and a listening ear. It started as a small pilot project in Norfolk in early 2004, across the eastern region by the end of the year, and then nationally by 2006. Now that's what you call a true hero, one who even in the darkest moments of his life chose to reach out and help others. What makes it even more incredible is that Bryan Gunn wasn't just an amazing human off the pitch, just as inspiring on it. The moment he made his debut, he had a natural pull. His football journey began at Aberdeen in 1980, just a week before fellow local lad Eric Black signed up too. To start, Gunn struck up a strong relationship with the club's fiery manager, Alex Ferguson. It wasn't just on the pitch either. Off the field, young Bryan even babysat Ferguson's kids. Once joked, "Probably babysat more than I played." Their bond was warm, but always had that no-nonsense business edge. There was a time Gunn asked Ferguson for a bit of holiday cash, and before he knew it, the boss was announcing he'd signed a new contract. Gunn got the money he needed, but ended up staying another year too. Back then, Gunn wasn't always a goalkeeper. In his Aberdeen days, he actually played outfield and could strike the ball as well as anyone. Ferguson even tried him as a center forward in a reserve game. He scored a stunning goal. But eventually, at 6 feet 2 inches, Gunn found his home between the sticks. He credited a lot of his growth to Belgian coach Marc de Klerk, who was ahead of his time with specialist training for goalkeepers. Gunn and fellow keeper Jim Leighton were drilled separately from the main squad, learning new techniques that weren't common in Britain yet. Teddy Scott, another coach at Aberdeen, also played a big part in shaping Gunn. The value of discipline and hard work. Even worked as a boot boy for future club legend Alex McLeish. Despite Leighton holding down the #1 spot, Gunn kept pushing himself, eventually earning 21 appearances for Aberdeen's senior team and several clean sheets. Got a taste of Europe, coming on unexpectedly in a 1986 European Cup match when Leighton lost a contact lens during warm-up. Gunn played brilliantly, helping Aberdeen to a solid result against Gothenburg. But with Leighton firmly in place, Gunn knew his chances were limited. Then kept his word and found him a new club, Norwich City, who signed him in October 1986 for £100,000. Nearly happened that summer, but Ferguson held off until Leighton recovered from an injury. Settling into life in Norwich was easy for Gunn. The countryside reminded him of home, and the city welcomed him warmly. Instead, he didn't walk straight into the team, which were flying high at the time, and Graham Benstead was in good form. Had to be patient, but after a 6-2 defeat to Liverpool, manager Ken Brown gave him his shot. He made a debut in the Full Members' Cup and followed it up with a league debut win against Tottenham. From there, Gunn quickly became a fan favorite. Norwich finished 5th in the league that season, their best result up to that point. His performances were so good that Aberdeen, now in need of a new goalkeeper, tried to bring him back in 1988, but Norwich refused to let him go. For few years, Gunn was at the heart of many of Norwich's greatest moments. He was in goal during their 1989 FA Cup semi-final run and would have played in the 1992 semi-final too, had he not been injured. But the biggest highlight came in 1993, when Norwich shocked the football world by beating Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup. Still called the club's finest hour, Gunn pulled off what he says was the best save of his life, stopping a goal from Bayern striker Adolfo Valencia. That moment is still remembered as one of the greatest saves ever by a Norwich keeper. Of not every memory was a good one. In 1995, Gunn had a moment every goalkeeper dreads. In a derby against Ipswich, a back pass from teammate Robert Ullathorne took a horrible bounce and flew over Gunn's foot straight into the net. He blamed the poor pitch, but admitted it was hugely embarrassing. So the infamous 1989 Highbury brawl against Arsenal. After a chaotic final few minutes where goals flew in and tempers flared, Gunn found himself in the middle of a massive fight. Trying it up, he ended up punching Tony Adams in the heat of the moment. The press had field day, and though no red cards were handed out, the incident led to fines and a stern warning from the FA. Despite these low points, Gunn remained a key figure at Norwich for over a decade. In 94-95, the team were 7th in the Premier League when Gunn broke his leg. Without him, they collapsed and were eventually relegated. Season, and even captained the team for a time. 98, after 12 seasons and 478 first-team appearances, his time club came to an end. Moved to Hibernian, initially on loan, but due to transfer rules, it became a permanent deal for just £25,000. Though his was short, just 12 games, he left an impression. He played in a memorable win over rivals' Hearts and earned a clean sheet at Celtic Park, stopping them from sealing the league title. A leg fracture ended his career not long after, and in 1999, on medical advice, Gunn retired. That wraps today's video. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you again soon.